Let me tell you a little story. There was once a boy, a very rambunctious boy, who got himself into a lot of trouble. Now this boy followed his father around all the time like a baby bird waiting to be fed. Now, how would this boy cope when his daddy went away? Where would all that aggression go? Riddle me this. What is this boy without Batman?
Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
Alright, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentleman Fan Project Reviews. I'm Sid Partu, joining me today is...
The Real Manos.
Indeed. And Manos, today we're talking about a little, it's not really a Batman fan film, it is a Robin fan film, to be fair. And it is called Robin, the Bird and the Brain. By High Top Films. This was sent to us by Geek for Fun over on Twitter, who of course does the main show with me now. And he just linked me to this Twitter post by the, I'm assuming the director or whatever on High Top Films, who was saying, man, I'd really like to see someone do like a review of this, a proper review, because this person does reviews also on their channel. And so I was like, oh yeah, we can get in on that. I'm going to say right out the gate, damn, I wish I realized it was a Christmas fan film because we could have kept this in our back pocket until December.
That would have been perfect, yeah.
Yeah, Christmas fan films are so hard. They're so hard to find. So I was a little disappointed by that side of things, but hey, it's too late for that now. So, Manos, what were your initial impressions of this one?
It's beautifully shot. I was really impressed by some of the landscape shots, like the alleyways and all the Christmas goings on shots in I guess one of the town squares or something like that. It really it's a lovely looking film. I like the kind of cat and mouse thing going on between Riddler and Robin, and it's interesting that they use Jason Todd.
Mm-hmm. I really like that choice.
Yeah, because I fully just expected it to be Dick. So that was kind of cool. Even that, and I say that as someone who doesn't even like Jason Todd. But I think he's pretty well handled here. I do have some issues with. I think some of the. I'm not sure if it's the acting or the miking on some of these actors.
Okay.
And there's a couple of pacing issues within, I guess, the middle of the film. That had some issues with, but otherwise not bad.
Okay. Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed this. I really wasn't sure what to expect because usually I pre-screen these just a little bit, but when it's someone requesting a review, I'm like, okay, yeah, we gotta hop on that. And so I really didn't know what I was gonna get going into this, and I gotta say it had some really cool choices that I really, really enjoyed, like the Jason Todd thing. I see Robin, the Bird, and the Brain, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be a Tim Drake fan film. That was my first assumption. It was going to be Tim Drake. Because, yeah, Riddler, detective, that Tim Drake's supposed to be a better detective than Batman, yada, yada, yada. Making it Jason Todd instantly had me intrigued, And I like that we get just this little preview of like what Jason's life was like before Batman too. I thought that was a really cool choice. And then like what I especially liked was the fact that Jason Todd didn't seem like an arbitrary choice of like, oh, we need a Robin and no one really makes Jason Todd fan films, so let's just do Jason Todd. Like the tone felt very Jason Todd, where even though he's Robin and it's supposed to be like the best time in his life, it's still really dark. Like he's investigating these murders and it's fair to say he just fails here. He's an absolute failure in this fan film in a way that I found incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
Like I was really expecting your typical Riddler resolution thing where eventually he gives himself away and then he gets his ass handed to him. No, it's a very dark, depressing ass ending where the bad guy gets away and Jason's left as not good enough. And that is, that's kind of Jason Todd's whole thing is he's a failure as Robin. And it's not entirely his fault, but there's a factor to it. There's an edge to it. So I really like that side of stuff. You're definitely right. I like a lot of the cinematography too. I was very impressed by a lot of the location scouting on here. I thought that was all really, really well handled. I think some of my biggest problems were, the audio here and there was a little off, and also just fight choreography was a bit mixed, I'll say. Some of it was really good and some of it was pretty bad. So that one was mixed to me.
I agree. The fight choreography was troublesome. Let's see. Because the alleyway scene, I'm a little conflicted on because the way it's shot is beautiful. Where the way we get to see that endless alleyway and the way it's lit is gorgeous. And then the fight scene is really kind of like I'm watching a couple of guys goof around on camera. Like it doesn't really. And also, he does that trick, which I always kind of am a sucker for, where you use cheerful music during a violent scene.
Yes.
I literally fall for that every time. It's just one of those things I really enjoy, and I don't care if it's done to death. Do not care. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Which is just like, that's really fun that it's a Christmas fan film too, you know?
Yeah.
That really helps it. The alley scene is interesting. I like the idea that, prior to Batman Beyond, we have kids roaming around in gangs a la Clockwork Orange dressed up like the Joker. Yeah. I like that that's a thing that happens before the Joker even dies. But also, like the fight scene itself, because it's Jason Todd versus 3 punks dressed up as the Joker. Which is kind of just interesting in and of itself because we as fans know what happens to Jason Todd. And he pretty much wipes the floor with 2 of them right away. And that's the part of the fight choreography that's, for lack of a better word, shoddy. It does feel like a little like, oh, okay, we're trying not to hurt each other. We're just kind of, wrestling around a little bit. And it's not, it doesn't look good. Then when there's only one Joker left, it takes a turn. I'm like, okay, now these 2 actually know what they're doing. That when it's Jason one-on-one with the other guy, then it looks a lot better. And it also helps that it's all like one shot during that one section. I thought that really, really worked. So like when it takes the turn to just one-on-one, I thought that looked a lot better. I'm not really sure what to say to do for how to improve that is the thing. Obviously, get other people who kind of know what they're doing, but maybe they don't have the resources for that. I'm going to ask you, Manos, did it need to be a gang of people dressed as the Joker?
I agree with the idea that I like the fact that the Jokers could begin while the Joker still is alive. So that's an interesting idea. Actually, to be honest, I'm not sure if I like the pacing, or maybe I shouldn't say pacing. Not sure where if I like the placement of this scene because it comes right, I mean, literally seconds after Jason gets a call and hearing Riddler kill somebody over the phone that he couldn't get to and save in time. And he's upset. And then he sees, immediately jumps into this action scene. I feel like it's too jarring. We're not really allowed to kind of like take in this moment. I really feel like maybe the fight scene should have been placed maybe earlier in the film.
Yeah, like maybe when he's on his way to the first crime scene or something.
True, or it maybe could have been a thing that interrupted what he was doing, like trying to save one of these people.
Yeah,
and he jumps in on this fight scene because he's just too hot-headed and can't, maybe they weren't even, you could even have done a scene. I'm fucking rewriting the scene. I hate doing that. That's the problem of being a writer and you review things. Like maybe, they weren't even like threatening someone. Like maybe they seem suspicious and he jumps in and, starts beating the crap out of them. And then it results in the death of someone. That may have something to do with the fact that that's how I see Jason. He's kind of a schmuck.
No, I agree.
He's kind of an angry, hot-headed schmuck.
No, that's definitely the case. I like the idea of Jason, just being a bit of a bruiser, not being as classy or lacking the finesse of Dick. Like
I hate it when people don't lack the finesse of Dick.
Yeah. I don't know. So like the idea of him kind of getting into this scrap that's a bit dirty and like he has to lose the cape during the fight, like that side of it I found interesting, and I do think it works for Jason Todd. I've of course admittedly like Jason Todd more as a character than you do. I'm willing to be maybe a little more generous to some of the ideas going on in that scene. But yeah, you're kind of right. It does feel like a fight scene just because, we got some people that kind of know how to fight, and let's just throw it in here. And so that was probably one of the weaker moments of the fan film overall, because the fight choreography isn't great at first. It gets better, but then ultimately the scene is not entirely pointless, but definitely oddly placed, if nothing else.
Yeah, I think that's its biggest problem. I would have liked to seen a little bit better if they had just kind of chose their placement more wisely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that. This I think like the second or maybe third Batman fan film we've talked about with the Riddler in it. How did you like this take on the Riddler?
Trying to think. Do you know that the Riddler is not actually one of my favorite villains?
Yeah, I know you don't particularly care for him as much as I do. Riddler's probably in my top 5.
And you're not alone. Like, there's some people out there that, God, they love Riddler. And I get why they love him, and I don't know, he's just one of those characters that just... I feel like I should like more, but I don't. Uh-huh. And I think his use here is... He seems more like a scummy, angry 20-year-old. Mm-hmm. That, didn't get a date, so he decides to kill people and put it on YouTube. He's that kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that kind of fits. I don't know if that's a little bit too... I've seen Riddler go to dark places, like the Batman story. I think it's called Dark City.
Mm-hmm. Dark Knight, Dark City. Dark
Knight, Dark City, yeah. Which I really like. It's one of my favorite Riddler stories. But like he had a specific goal in mind with that. Like this is doing some like, Saw and John Doe from Seven kind of crap. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of iffy on it. I mean, it's a totally legit take on the Riddler because he is kind of this lowlife who thinks he's smarter than everybody else. So yeah, I think it passes. It might be a shade darker than what I usually like for Riddler, but I don't like the giggling Joker-esque Riddler either. So
yeah.
I guess one of my favorite takes is the Paul Dini method on Riddler. Both in the animated series and also in the comics when he wrote the comics for a while.
Yeah, when Riddler was detective.
Oh my god, that was so cool. I really
Yeah, it was
enjoyed
fun.
that. Was one of my favorite periods on a Riddler.
Yeah. For me, I did quite like this take on the Riddler because the Riddler is this really interesting character who's got, like, he's kind of pathetic sometimes because there's so many Batman stories where Batman just simply beats him. And, you know, like, a good example of that is, like, the DC Nation short Riddle Me This, where, like, he's got all these riddles and Batman just simply gets them and then punches him in the face, and that's, like, the gag 6 times over. And so writers seem to struggle to know exactly what to do with Riddler, if they want to make him pathetic or they want to try to do a new take on him that's, like, super threatening. My favorite story with the Riddler, Riddle Me That, is this dramatic new take on the character where he reinvents himself and comes out as all threatening, and it didn't stick, which is disappointing to me. But, like, then other people have this thing where he's pathetic, like Tom King's War of Jokes and Riddles. Kind of the seminal moment in that is Bruce asking the Joker and the Riddler who should get to have their goal, which, not to explain that story too much. And the Riddler has, like, this huge reason and all this stuff, and the Joker just goes, I'm the Joker, he's the Riddler, who cares about the Riddler? And it's like kind of this, yeah, it's like kind of, the Riddler's kind of pathetic. He's got this underlying thing of needing to prove himself, which is an intimately pathetic kind of notion in the world of super macho comic men. And so, like, this take on the Riddler, I felt, did a really nice balancing act between those two things of, like, let's make the Riddler dark and threatening, but also he's kind of pathetic. So he's like this fucking, you know, quote-unquote beta male who couldn't get the girl and who was just used by a woman, and so now he's this, like, shitty little angry man lashing out at the world to try to prove how smart he is in like, really violent ways. And, you know, that's a very real-world villain to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's, you know, that's kind of your mass shooter kind of thing. So maybe that's a little too dark and like, unpleasant to think about, but it's a take that I think works for the Riddler. So I thought that stance on the character was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. I felt maybe it got a little too ranty, and now I must reveal my origins.
That rant at the end was like, oh man, come on.
It did go on a little long, but the side to it that I really liked is it's what clued Jason into the riddle, and that kind of goes back to the other thing I really like about this presentation of the character. He's not the fucking clue master, he's not the let me leave hints, he's not the puzzler, he's the Riddler. The whole thing revolves around a single riddle. And it's one of those cases where I'm of the opinion a riddle really should only have one answer that makes sense, because otherwise it's not a very good riddle. This was one of those cases where I actually thought it worked, that there are multiple answers, but all of them make equal sense, and it's the true answer ties in with the character of the Riddler as presented here. I thought that was a really good, thread of the needle there.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely a few ways of, like, going about the Riddler. Like, you can intentionally make the riddles stupid, and their job is not to be like a difficult riddle, but they are clues to the bigger riddle. Or you do go out and make the riddles very difficult. And it depends on the writer. Like, if you're really good at writing riddles, go ahead and go nuts with it. But if you're not, then want to go the first route.
Yeah,
because that's probably how I would go if I ever had to write the Riddler. It's like, man, I suck at riddles. Okay, let me do it this way.
yeah. That's, I don't know. It's kind of fun. It's like, so what is everyone searching for but can never find, or something like that. It's like, oh, time, life, both of those work, but identity, that works so much better, especially in the context of the film. I thought that was pretty good. And it ties Jason and the Riddler together in kind of an interesting way. And I really appreciated that. So I want to use this opportunity to kind of shift and talk about one of the other negatives that kind of made me worried about going into this fan film. That fucking Harley Quinn scene is nothing but superfluous.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, this is part one of a series, so maybe that's designed to be picked up later, or maybe its use is to justify Batman not being directly involved. Like, he's busy with this other thing.
Maybe. I guess. It's awkward. It goes back again to this notion of awkwardly placing things, like we talked about with the Joker's fight scene.
Yeah.
You know, it's just we already have this little preamble with the thing where we got Jason Todd before he meets Batman, and he's like stealing cars and pickpocketing people and stuff, and that's interesting, and that kind of gives us insight into our character. And then we get this whole like just really long, really sloppily edited piece with Harley Quinn that just feels awkward, that doesn't add anything to the film we're watching. So you're right, maybe they're going to plan to do something with that later on, or maybe it's just there to justify why Batman's not here. You want to justify why Batman's not here? Oh yeah, he's out fighting the Joker and Harley Quinn right now.
True.
You want to
get
a
line.
Yeah, you want to say, oh, it's for later, then it should be after the credits. Mm-hmm. I don't really have much sympathy for that one. That is just really sloppily placed, in my opinion.
Yeah, because you know what? A simple line could, like, do all the work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, Batman's, trying to, find Harley Quinn. She's doing some stuff.
Well,
I mean, that's really all you need.
What's super interesting about it is, or what's like kind of a missed opportunity about it is the place for that line is in the script already. When Jason first calls the Riddler assumes it's Batman. He says, "No, this is Robin," and then he's like, "Batman's been in the bathroom for a couple hours." Like is the line he uses. And really, it's kind of a Jason Toddy line, but really, you could have found a smarter-ass way to say he's off fighting Harley Quinn and the Joker. Like, I mean, all right, here you go. Here's your Jason Todd take on that line. Yeah, he's off with more important villains. Harley Quinn and the Joker, not a loser like you.
Or, hey, he's got a date with Harley Quinn.
Yeah, those just it serves the purpose of the other scene, unless I really misread that other scene and that was meant to be in the past too or something. But as far as I could tell, that scene just really was out of place for me. Mm-hmm. What else with this one? I'm trying to think what else we need to talk about with this. You got anything you want to go to?
I don't know. I think we really did discuss some.
Well, I got one now.
Yeah,
but,
okay, yeah. I'm trying to decide. I feel like we may have discussed everything. My biggest feelings about the film.
Okay.
I suppose, did we really get into talking about the acting?
No, not really. This is one of those smarter fan films, I feel, where they don't have too many actors on screen that they don't need to, again, besides Harley Quinn. Yep. We got Jason on screen, and we got a couple bystanders who don't distract and do their job well enough. And then we have the Riddler, who's mostly just voice acting through the whole thing.
That's true, until we see him at the end. I do like that.
And Oracle, who's also voice acting through the whole thing.
Yeah, do you think, let me ask you something, and this is more of a fan geeky thing than a real mature critical thing. Do you think this Riddler can hack into Oracle?
Okay, so if we're going fan geeky stuff, here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So in the prelude to the wedding issues that were coming out last year, they did a bunch of one-shots, and they did Batgirl and the Riddler, and I really like the idea that the Riddler has a bit of a crush on Batgirl because she's kind of the brains of Batman, but wrapped up in a girl's body.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of dug that one. And so, like, in that comic, he mentioned, "Oh, I'm going very low-tech, and I made you a tape like a little cassette tape, so that way you couldn't use your technical skills to track me down. And I thought like that was kind of cute and kind of fun. I don't know, the idea of the Riddler being a hacker and all that stuff is something that's it's a pretty go-to because people think hacking is smart and just the public perception. Not that I'm saying it's not. Please don't hack me. But they that's kind of the public perception. So it works well enough for the character. I think it is a bit out of place here because it doesn't really add anything to this film itself. It gives a pretty good dramatic finish. I'll give it that. I don't really know like how much it adds to the film itself besides just the Jason's kind of a failure.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big failure. I mean, it lets a whole bunch of people die, and then the villain like tells him like, "Hey, I know who you are in Batman." I mean, it's a pretty massive failure. It's a bad night.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe,
but like, is it necessary? Is the question. You know.
Well, I mean, in the past, Riddler has figured out, who Batman is, only to forget through, I don't know.
He got hit on the head. No, he literally got hit on the head.
Yeah, not as bad as some of Spider-Man's 1970s villains, who would literally like get hit in the head all the time and have amnesia. Not
as bad as Zorro's villains, who if they found out Diego was Zorro, that's the episode they die in.
But yeah, I don't know. This guy does. I mean, Riddler has had a history of being able to figure out who Batman is, only to forget. And this one does seem like the kind that would dox people. Mm-hmm. That kind of like type. I don't know. It's just I have to see further episodes of this if they're planning.
They are. They have a trailer.
To feel a little bit more confident in that choice.
They seem to be planning to do more. I saw there's a trailer for episode 2. Keep in mind, this is over a year old now. There's a trailer for episode 2 on the channel. I didn't watch it, but like it's got Scarecrow on the thumbnail, which makes me go, so are we not picking up the Riddler thing? What's going to happen there?
I think we might be doing something along the lines of the Jeff Loeb type of Batman story, where we have a story that we're following through, but while we go through this story, we're going to run to this Batman villain, this Batman villain, this Batman villain. So that might be what they're planning.
I mean, maybe, and that could work too. It's just got to see more of it.
Yeah, the Jeff Loeb method has worked and not worked, so we'll see.
And sometimes kind of sort of worked if you wait long enough in between reading the 2 volumes.
Yeah,
that was a stab at Dark Victory.
Hey, listen, I was just about to ask. I've read Long Halloween. I love Long Halloween. I've read Hush. I do not like Hush, and I never finished Dark Halloween. I got the first issue of that. Dark Victory. What did I call it? Dark Finish?
You said Dark Halloween.
Dark Halloween. Oh,
I mean, that'd be a Batman story name too. I can see it.
Too typical. But anyway, I read the first issue of Dark Victory, and I never got a chance to finish it. What did you think of it in general?
I mean, it's just Long Halloween 2. It's literally the exact same story is the funny part, but whatever. And then Hush is Long Halloween Part 3, but this time the Riddler.
Yeah, and dumber.
Yeah.
It's Long Halloween, the dumb version.
Yeah, I don't know. So, just the thing for me is I don't know if it really earns giving the reveal of Bruce Wayne and stuff. Like, again, it's kind of like the thing we talk about with a lot of fan films. Yeah, maybe not kill the Joker. It's kind of a big deal when you do that, and it makes me question if your story justified it. And same kind of thing here. Maybe not reveal Bruce Wayne's identity. It's a big shocking moment, but the second you do it, I'm like, okay, but did you earn that? Does it make sense? Is it actually part of your story, or is it just tacked on for shock value? And this one kind of feels, especially with where it takes place at the end, it feels more tacked on for shock value. I would have been happy. Like, I like the idea that the Riddler was kind of playing his own game with Jason the whole time. to try to break into the system a little bit, and he's like, and if the reveal had been, I got a little bit into your system, not all the way, but I do know something which will help me out in the future, Jason. And if that was it. Because obviously when he's talking to Oracle, she doesn't say Jason Todd. It could have been just the first name, and that would have felt more justified to me.
Yeah, you're right. She doesn't call him Jason. Somebody else on the phone in the beginning, when he's stealing the car, calls him Jason.
No. Oracle calls him Jason, but she doesn't call him Jason Todd.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
yeah. So obviously
she's a friend.
Yeah. So obviously, first name doesn't mean as much, but it's still a very personal part of the superhero identity kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that could have been, it would have been dramatic, but not overly dramatic, as I feel the Jason Todd Bruce Wayne reveal is. The only other thing I wanted to talk about with this one was the music. We mentioned it a little bit, but again, Christmas fan film gives you access to Christmas music. And
yes.
I really, really enjoyed how it was used here.
I agree. They used Here Comes Santa Claus during the fight scene, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That was well used, although, I mean, granted, I've seen Here Comes Santa Claus used a lot during dark scenes, but I don't know, it still works. It just, I don't know. I'm not made of stone. It works every time I see it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, what's his name? Who wrote Iron Man 3 and Lethal Weapon? Shane Black.
Shane Black, yeah.
Shane Black gets it. Christmas is a good setting to tell dark, violent stories. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason why it works. And yep. I really did enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I thought that was, just good choices. Setting at Christmas does give you the excuse to just use, Christmas music, and I thought that was pretty fun. I will say my only slightly, this is total nitpick. I cannot at all hold it against the filmmakers because they clearly shot at Christmas time, just wherever they are in the world.
Yeah.
Gotham City is covered in snow during Christmas, 100% of the time, right? If it's not raining in Gotham, it's because it's snowing and it's Christmas, right?
It have to snow. I don't know. It's just I'm not as attached to snow for Christmas as some people because I'm from you're
from
from Virginia. I'm from
South. Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't have any snow this past year, so it's I
mean, with global warming, I'm getting less and less of it, even though I'm in the Midwest. But still, it's Gotham. Yeah. It's like an aesthetic thing. It snows at Christmas, and if it's not snowing at Christmas, that means it's raining at any other time of the year. That is Gotham's mood, just perpetually precipitating. And so I was a little man, Gotham Christmas, yay, I love those. Oh, there's no snow. Shit. All right, well, that's not their fault. And it's totally not. That's totally me and my personal aesthetic things. Okay. Well, Vanos, you ready to go ahead and go on to ratings?
Yes, let's do it.
Alrighty. I'll go first, and I'll give this... I rarely go to this kind of rating, but I got it because it's just... A 3.5 seems too low and a 4 seems too high. So I'm going to go with 3.75 out of 5 cookies left out for the man in red.
Wow.
In this case, Robin.
Yeah, I'm personally a little bit stuck between 3 and 4, so I'd probably give it maybe 3.5 Harley Quinn Christmas specials.
Okay. All right. Well, High Top Films, hope you enjoyed the review. Please share it around. We could always use some more exposure out there in different fan film circles and whatnot.
Yeah.
I noticed, I was scrolling through the comments on this one, Ismahawk's YouTube channel, who did like this really well-known Nightwing series, left a comment on there. So, yay, fan films interacting with each other. I like that stuff. So anyway,
I would definitely like to do like if they continue this on and do a part 2, part 3. I'd like to keep watching these.
Yeah, definitely. I'll probably I might subscribe or just check out the channel here and again, because sometimes subscribing I get like all of someone's content when I'm only interested in a little bit of it. And it's YouTube. What can you do? Anyway, so yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Manos, what fan film will we be talking about next time?
All right, we're gonna have 2 weeks in a row fan films featuring someone named Jason. Next week, it's Michael versus Jason. Evil emerges.
Oh, fun. Okay. Sounds good. Until then, folks, I'm the Philosopher.
And I'm the Realist.
And we are your geeky gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.